Yo, I watched Quiet Place Day 1 starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, and I felt quite disappointed. I recently revisited the last two films, and individually I think they do what they are both trying to do equally as good. And with the trend of them being bigger and bigger as we go, I was expecting this also as a day one film, considering the flashback moments we got in that part 2 to carry that same energy, that same tension, that same interest, especially considering this was taking place in New York, one of the loudest cities in the world. They even addressed that in the beginning. But we did have some of those moments thrown at us, definitely, but they just felt it lingered too much on the development of the two characters, which necessarily isn't a bad thing, but considering how much of what we got to see of the Krasinski family in the first and the Millicent and Cillian relationship in the second, this character study just was not as interesting for me personally. So the film only had, the quiet place moments, and I will get to them as well. Firstly, I love how this film starts and just addresses some of the questions I had with the original two, like how did America try to combat this invasion? And we see the American Defense Force preparing for the situation, jets flying at the start, then the trucks and the helicopters follow. I like how it wasn't something that caused like a state of panic till it started being something you had to worry about, because realistically that's what the government were trying to do. And when it happened, the idea of them trying to just cut off all contact and try to prevent them from spreading basically, and them knowing what their weakness was almost immediately. Also the alien lore being explored. There were a bunch of them in the Krasinski films, but we see like there's an army here, and then we see like there's something like an egg that they're trying to eat. I did not really understand that part, but we also see multiple of them at once. I don't know, maybe it was a budget thing in the previous movies, or just the narrative being easier to have one to deal with at a time. But here we see them interact with each other, and that was something I think we see for the first time. I can't really remember those films. Just interesting to see and explore the alien side of this story. Wish we got something more clearer and more deeper into that part of the movie. And yeah, it's a Quiet Place film. Of course, they knew how to get those tense moments, especially at the start when it happens and they are in that theater. Some dumb decisions they make, but that was my problem. I understand it's a $67 million film, but pick a side. You want to do this big New York film, and I know New York wouldn't be this quiet, but it's that stop, loud, then stop again and be quiet. Like, it's New York. The people will always be loud. It will always be a loud city till almost everyone dies. So the decision for them to make everybody use that same road, this is a bit of a spoiler, but the decision for them all to be on that same road and just get slaughtered, like what were they thinking? But sometimes it did lean into the smarter idea, because it's a big city. Not everybody will be dumb, and we'll have different groups. Like we saw kids at the start, and I think there were people in the church, on one church scene, I can't really remember. But it's just to show, I wish we just got to see more of people's lives just getting messed up by this invasion. I know it wants to be this grounded human story of Lupita and Joseph, but considering its end, I think we deserve to explore other stories in the movie. Not even in the sense of something being fully fledged, but like just seeing people trying to survive in this situation that they're put in. And speaking of the two leads, I did not really feel anything for their growth, considering how much of this movie was trying to make that its strong point. That was pretty concerning for me. I love Lupita's performance, but I think it was Joseph that was just not selling it for me. As soon as he gets involved, he was killing it at the start, but then I just consistently start to lose interest in his character the more we dive into it and his relationship. So that slapped with its ending. You already know how I feel. Also feel like I was clickbaited by Djimon Hounsou's appearance. I didn't really watch the trailers, or I just saw some photos and obviously like his name being on the posters and everything. So I thought he was going to play like a bigger role in this film. Bit of a spoiler. Mainly him and Lupita like in this situation, but he's cut off from the movie like really early on. Overall, I'm not like a massive fan of this film. I think it has its strong points, especially exploring this world of The Quiet Place and seeing the life of Lupita and how she deals with this situation and everything, as well as her relationship with that cat. Forgot to mention about Frodo. Shout out Frodo, real MVP in this movie. But aside that, it was felt really boring for me and left me uninterested for most of it. I would love to know what you think about it, because I feel like I'm in the minority of people that didn't like it. I'm always seeing reviews, people saying it's the best one in the series. It's not. For me at least, it's not. Thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.